This summer, my friend Sophie and I spent 2.5 weeks road tripping almost 2,000 miles around the UK in a little Fiat 500, and this is how it went. Arrived in Huntingdon, which is our first stop. It's kind of unexpected. We literally decided about 15 minutes ago we're going to have a stop, but the Hotel Chocolat factory shop is here. We're not sure what this is going to be like, but Sophie loves chocolate. I think we probably mentioned this in other videos because I think we went to the Cadbury factory shop in one of the other ones we filmed, and so we're going to go and stop off and see what it's like. Unfortunately, the factory shop was not all we'd hoped it would be, but fueled with some chocolate nonetheless, we headed on towards the Peak District, stopping at Bradgate Park in Leicestershire, where we watched some deer and enjoyed the first of many, many picnics on our trip. It has been a little while since I updated you. We have been to Bradgate Park for lunch, and then we've been driving for about another hour and 10 minutes, I'd say now. We are about half an hour away from the campsite. We're just entering the Peak District now. We have just been driving all day, so it's been quite a long day. But I think we're going to go and see my friend this evening, and we might go and see what the Peak District has to offer, I don't know. But the first task is to get the tent up. This will be our first time ever putting the tent up by ourselves, where my brother has not been helping us. So I'm intrigued to see how that goes. Just put up the tent, which was a lot more hard work than we thought because the weather is just beautiful today, and now we are on our way to go and see my friend from university, Emily, who lives only like 20 minutes from the Peak District. She lives near Sheffield, so we thought we would go and pop in and say hello. We have just come to visit somewhere called Surprise View, which has such a pretty view, which I think you'll probably have just seen, or I'll be putting in here in the video. And we've just come here as a stop on our way back from seeing Emily, and then we're gonna head back to the campsite now, I think, and cook dinner, which is our first night on the campsite. So yeah, exciting times. Good morning, it is Sunday today. It's actually 9:30 already, and we've just kind of rolled out of bed. Everybody else in the campsite seems to have already packed up, but we're not leaving today, so it's okay, we don't have to put a tent down. I've just made myself some breakfast. I'm having cucumber and Philadelphia on like fresh bread from yesterday, which is lovely. Sophie's just woken up, and I think we're going to try and head off in not too much time, are we? We're going to go and drive through this really cool gorge, I think, first of all, and then we'll just see where the day takes us from there. We have just left the campsite. We had a little bit of a mare. We lost the car keys, but it's all fine. We found them again. And it's now like 10:30, so we've had a little bit of a late start today, but we are just driving through Winnet's Path, and it is stunning. We're currently walking up to the top of Derwent Edge, I think that's how you say it, but we've got some really nice views of the reservoir at the bottom. I'm not actually sure which reservoir this is because I don't think it's Derwent Reservoir, but yeah, it's just absolutely stunning. And we're just walking up to the top. This should take us about, I think, like 40 minutes to get up and then 20 minutes to come back down, but I'm excited because apparently it's meant to have really good views at the top. Driven for about 40 minutes after our hike. Our hike ended up taking about an hour and 40 up the hill, didn't it? And we're currently in a little place called Bakewell. It is, honestly, it's such a beautiful little, I guess you call it a town. It's a town really, isn't it? And we're gonna go and get some fish and chips for lunch, and then we're gonna go and see if we can find a cave this afternoon, and we've got another walk. We've just been to this lovely little chip shop behind us, this little traditional fish and chip shop in Bakewell. I got some lovely chips, which I am now going to eat. Sophie's got her, she stood up here. Unfortunately, there's nowhere to sit, but we're just going to sit and people watch, I think. I'm on the edge of the pavement. Yesterday afternoon, after we went to Thor's Cave, we then went to this waterfall. It's called Three Shires Head, and basically it's a waterfall. We saw it on TikTok, and it is where 3 counties, I think Staffordshire, not Yorkshire, Derbyshire and one of the other shires, where they all meet, and there's like a really pretty river and like waterfall and a bridge. And apparently it was said in the olden days that when people used to have illegal fist fights there, if the police were called, they would just cross the bridge so that they were in a different county, because then the police wouldn't be able to arrest them. So that was quite cool to go and visit. I actually decided, I was a bit mad, decided to go swimming in the waterfall, but it was so much fun. It was quite chilly though, because it was about 6 PM when we did that. And then we just headed back to the campsite. We had a pot noodle, didn't we? Not exactly the height of nutrition, but there we go. And then we watched a bit of the football on our phones and just went to bed because we were absolutely shattered. We did so much yesterday. And then today we have packed up our tent quite unsuccessfully. The car is now a lot more full than it was when we first started. And the tent, unfortunately, is not in its bag and it's soaking wet because I don't know if you'll be able to hear, but it is shocking. Like, the weather is grim today. And we are heading off to Leeds. So we're going to the park and ride now, and then we're going to get the bus into the city centre. Horribly rainy day in Leeds today, so we've actually come back to the hotel to chill for a bit, but I thought I'd take the opportunity to show you around our lovely £29.99 a night travel lodge room in Leeds. So as you walk in, there's this lovely mirror, and then there's a bathroom which has just got like shower, bath, sink and loo, and then you come through here, we've got the TV, we've got a bit of, what have we got on? The Chase on the TV. This is Sophie. We've been shopping today, as you can see. We've already made it into a mess. And then we've just got this little double bed. And then our view out the window on a very grey day is just of the street outside. This is the entrance to the travel lodge. But yeah, Leeds isn't looking too bad today. Made it into Durham, and we've just come to a little cafe that actually we have a friend who goes to uni here, our friend Teddy, and she's recommended a few cafes to us, so we're going to go to this one called Flat White Kitchen for brunch this morning. After visiting Durham, we headed to Newcastle via the Angel of the North. I forgot to film, but we arrived quite late in Newcastle and just went for a walk along the quayside before heading into the city for dinner. We stayed with our friend Charlotte, who we went for brunch with the next morning. Then we drove up to Northumberland, which is just above Newcastle, where we met up with some family friends of mine, and we did have an absolutely lovely day at the beach. I feel like we just needed a little bit of a break. It was been very, very intense up until that point. And today we are heading up to Edinburgh, where we're hopefully going kayaking on the way, but it is also Scottish school holidays, which makes me think that the beaches and like all the activities at the beaches are going to be very, very busy, and we can't book in advance. So we'll see whether kayaking happens, but if not, we are heading to Edinburgh today, and then we're going to go and climb Arthur's Seat, which should be really good. Edinburgh, we visited the National Gallery, Cowton Hill and the castle before doing a walking tour around the city. On our way out of Edinburgh, we visited Jupiter Artland, which was a really cool sculpture garden. So today is a very exciting day. We are climbing up Ben Lomond. So we're currently staying at campsite just down the road in Milwaukee Bay, and we've been like just chilling out at Loch Lomond. We only arrived yesterday, so we just like chilled out by the beach, and today we've decided to climb Ben Lomond. Now I have to say, Sophie and I are not particularly seasoned hikers, so this is going to be a challenge. We've literally just started like 10 minutes ago, if that, 5 minutes ago, and I reckon it's probably going to take us the best part of like 5 or 6 hours. What do you reckon? Yeah, it's going to take us a while. So we'll keep you updated on how we're getting on and whether we actually make it to the top. This bit isn't too bad. The worst bit was definitely like, the first bit was really quite uphill. I think we're getting towards the top. However, it looks like the top of Ben Lomond is actually in a cloud at the moment, so I'm not sure how good our view is going to be. And we have made it to the top of Ben Lomond. I have to say, the view is, it's alright, it's a bit cloudy, the clouds have now gone, which is really good. We just had some lunch, and we're just enjoying being at the top of a mountain, which has honestly been such an achievement for both of us. It's taken us about 3 hours to get up here, so we're hoping it will only take us 4 to get back down. But it's freezing cold up here, so hopefully the weather's also a bit nice when we get down. Good morning. I thought instead of filming every single day of this trip, which would have been a really long video, I'd just film the highlights, and then on one of the days, which I picked today, I'm going to film a little like day in the life, so you can see, because we have kind of got a routine now that we're travelling. Sophie, my roommate, is still asleep in here. It's currently 8:30 in the morning. I woke up about half an hour ago, which is quite late for me. However, Sophie likes to lie in because she goes to bed a lot later than me, and so she is still asleep. So today I'm waking up at 10, which means I've got an hour and a half now. So I'm going to go and get dressed, get ready for the day, and then I think I'm going to go for a walk along the beach this morning. So I haven't really explained where we are or what we're doing. Basically, we are camping at the moment because we are in Loch Lomond near Glasgow, and today we are on our last day here. So we're heading off this morning to go to Glasgow itself. We've got some like museums and stuff booked, but obviously we need to pack up everything to do that. However, we packed up loads of stuff last night, which was kind of handy of us, so it's all in the car at the moment, hence why the tent is looking quite so empty. So we've just got the last few bits to do, which is why we're waking up so late, because we're trying to leave at 11 and we're going to try and get everything done in an hour, including taking down the tent, taking down the air mattresses, packing away all the bedding and packing away our stuff from last night. However, brief intermission from me telling you all about the practicalities of my life to admire the beautiful view. This is what I'm kind of going for a walk along this morning. I think I'm going to try and aim to go over there. I've just been catching up with my parents whilst I went for my little walk, just plugged my headphones in and chatted to them, which is something I do kind of every day. And then now I'm just gonna sit here, admire the view, I think, and read my book. I am currently reading All the Lonely People, really enjoying it. I need to charge my Kindle actually, look at that, that's shocking. But yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and read. Sophie is now awake, she's got dressed. You're looking lovely. Thank you. We're about to pack up all of our stuff in here, and then we've kind of cleared out everything else. This is all tent stuff. That's our bags for today. Sophie's shoes. I'm currently eating a banana because I haven't had breakfast and I'm starving. And then we'll be all good to go. We're going to be super speedy this morning. Do you want to talk us through what you're doing, Sophie?
No, please.
Sophie's currently deflating her air mattress, which is probably one of our favourite jobs to do, isn't it? Seeing as it does just involve lying down on our beds again. Fifi the Fear is looking more and more full. This is honestly a game of Jenga, trying to get everything in. We've got the gas canisters under here so that we don't waste any space. This blanket is not staying here, by the way, because then Sophie would not be able to see out the front. But we're going to get the tent down now, and then that is going in this gap here. So, fun fact, our tent is actually inflatable, which means it is the easiest thing in the world to take down, because all we have to do is let the air out and it kind of deflates itself. Putting it back in the bag is another matter entirely. It is pressurised, so this is definitely not how you're meant to take the tent down. Like, you're meant to use a pump. We already have to pump up the tent, so we don't want to pump it down as well. So we just release it really slowly. And it sings to us. Every time getting this in the bag is the highlight of my day. And the car is packed on time. How do you feel, Sophie? Yeah, this is very impressive for us. It's packed so much better than it was last time, and the tent is in the bag and it's not soaking wet, so we've done well. So the way this normally works, I mean, I can drive. I have my driving license, and if there was an emergency I could drive, but for the purpose of this road trip we've decided that Sophie is going to drive all of it, because she's got insurance on the car, it's her car, and so it just makes sense for her to drive. So she drives us everywhere, fantastic, and I do the directions, which is slightly challenging given that I don't know my left and my right. So we have ended up getting lost a few times, which is all my fault. At the moment we're just driving out of Loch Lomond, and it says the drive is going to be 50 minutes. So we'll get some tunes on. Unfortunately, Sophie's car doesn't have an aux cable, so we are back in the dark ages with CDs. So I think this morning we've got now, are we on now 74? Now 70? Now 73 we're listening to, which has some absolute tunes on it, I'm telling you. So we've come to this little cafe. I think it's called Ronzio. I'm not 100% sure on how you pronounce it, but it's literally right outside the museum that we've just been in, which was really interesting. We're not really artsy people, so it didn't take us very long to like get around the museum, but obviously it's beautiful from the outside. I have not been very good at vlogging today, and I completely forgot to show you my lunch because I was starving and I just ate it straight away. I had this like open panini with steak, rocket, mushroom and red onion in it, and it was so good. It was really, really good. I'd really recommend. What did you have, Sophie?
Poached eggs.
Which is a bit of a classic Sophie meal now. She has had poached eggs, I think 3 or 4 times on this trip when we go out, because it seems to be the only savoury food Sophie likes. Anyway, we are now headed to the university to go and have a little look around, and then I think we're going to walk down to the waterfront. Police have just pulled up next to us. We're going to walk down to the waterfront and go and see what's going on down there. So we're actually at the University of Glasgow campus, and although it looks very like Harry Potter-esque, I mean I wouldn't know, I haven't read or watched Harry Potter, but I've been told by Sophie, reliable source, this looks very much like it was the set for Harry Potter. We have actually just googled it, and unfortunately it was not, but it is a very, very beautiful building nonetheless. We're now off to the Riverside Museum. I don't think we're going to be able to get in here because we haven't actually booked it, and I think all the museums in Glasgow you need to book because of like COVID and stuff, but we're just going to go and have a look. It's meant to be a really cool building. We saw it in the museum earlier under the like redesigning Glasgow for culture, for this City of Culture exhibition part of it. So we're going to go and see what the building looks like, and it would just be nice to be down by the river, to be honest. It's such a hot day today. This is the museum that I was talking about. And here's some ice cream, which I think we're probably gonna make the most of, and then we'll walk back along the river. Oh, Sophie and an ice cream. Name a more inseparable duo. We have just arrived in our travel lodge room, and honestly, after sleeping on an airbed in our tent, which is not small to be fair, we have a massive tent for the two of us, but after sleeping in a tent for 2 days, this is very, very much welcomed. We are staying in the travel lodge on Queen Street in Glasgow, so we're right in the centre, and luckily for us, we're actually not looking out onto a road this time because the road was quite busy and I was a bit worried that it was going to be really noisy at night. We have just been chilling in our room at the travel lodge for like half an hour, I don't really know, and it's about 4 o'clock-ish now, and we are heading out towards the necropolis and the cathedral in Glasgow, and then we are going to go and get some dinner, and then after that we've actually booked mini golf, crazy golf, I don't really know, fun golf, just up the road from our hotel, but there's still the 10 o'clock curfew in Scotland. We've just arrived at the necropolis, and I have to admit, journey here was slightly dodgy with a lot of like shops with bars on them and stuff. It just didn't feel 100% safe, but we made it here and it was definitely worth coming because the cathedral is beautiful and it looks like we're going to have a nice look around the necropolis. Actually happened to be in the Lake District at the same time as my parents, so we met up with them and visited Cathedral Caves before heading to Hawkshead, where we got these huge ice creams from the little ice cream shop. Then after we'd said goodbye to them, we headed to Rydal Water, where we went wild swimming. The next day we headed to Manchester, but had a bit of a nightmare with parking, resulting in me forgetting to film anything. We visited the People's History Museum before going out for drinks in the evening. So we're currently in the Brecon Beacons. There's been no updates for a while, I'm very aware, but this morning we went canyoning in the waterfalls, which was so much fun. I wasn't able to take any video because obviously it was in water. Now we are currently walking up a hill, which apparently will give us views of the mountains without us actually having to climb up the mountains, because one thing I've learned from this trip is that Sophie, my friend who I'm travelling with, does not like climbing up hills at all. So climbing a little hill to see the mountains is much better than climbing the mountains themselves. After our walk, we went for a coffee and explored Brecon. Whilst we've been in the Brecon Beacons, we've actually stayed in this hostel. Well, it's called a micro hostel, so it only has 3 rooms. And I thought I would give you a quick tour around our little room so you can see what that looks like in comparison to like our travel lodge rooms and our tent setup and all that sort of thing. So you come in at the door here, and then we just have these 2 little beds here, obviously one for Sophie and one for me. It's very, just like, it's basic, but it's got everything we need. We can dry our clothes over here. It's got plug sockets, electricity, there's Wi-Fi here. We've got access to the kitchen downstairs, which has been amazing because we haven't had access to an oven for the whole of our trip. And we even have a toaster, which makes us very happy because we're about to have crumpets this morning. That's our little setup here. We're actually staying in Yellowwood Micro Hostel and we're located in Brecon, which is obviously like the town that's associated with the Brecon Beacons. In Pembrokeshire, we went for a walk from our campsite along the coastal path to the Blue Lagoon, where we watched people jump but decided we'd done enough canyoning for one trip. The following day, we headed to St David's, which is the UK's smallest city, visiting the cathedral and White Sands Beach. That evening, we enjoyed our last meal on the camping stove with our staple dish of pesto pasta. In Cardiff, we enjoyed a boat trip around the bay and saw where Casualty is filmed. We've got an interesting final dinner. Sophie, do you want to show us what you've got? Sausages. Yeah, very nice.
Carrots.
Yeah, with the hummus, but you won't eat. And some Galaxy counters. And I've got some reduced sweet chilli hummus, some sushi, but I only like vegetable sushi. So we've got some pepper and cucumber sushi and some lettuce. Which will go with Sophie's meal as well. After celebrating the end of 20 days together without killing each other, we made a quick pit stop in Bristol before making the long journey home to Essex. I hope you've enjoyed spending a crazy 20 days with us, and I'll see you soon with a new video.